Wanted to just come on here and talk about this conversation I've been having a lot with clients, which is just avoiding the trap of having an on or off switch. It's really easy within your fitness journey, your weight loss journey, to have this kind of like quick, hard on and off switch where you have some weeks or some days where you're on your nutrition plan, you're tracking your food, you're weighing things accurately, you're hitting your steps and workouts. And then for whatever reason, maybe you go out of town or you have like a holiday or something else pops up and you get super busy and you end up turning that switch off. And like, it's so easy to fall into this trap. And this is something that I, had struggled with back, years ago, before, I really got into fitness and really started being consistent. So it's nothing to like be ashamed about. It's nothing to feel like, oh, like something's wrong with me, because it's something a lot of us struggle with. But you have to really try to avoid that. Like, I was having a conversation with the client, actually today, and she was kind of telling me how, over the weekend, the 4th of July, and she's a relatively new client who's only been in the program for 1 or 2 months. So she's still learning, a lot as far as how to track your food, how to make balanced meals and all of that. And she was kind of telling me how, okay, like Monday through Wednesday, she was really on point with tracking, but then she went out of town. And then Thursday through Sunday, she didn't track her food at all. And for somebody more experienced who has been doing this for a long time and knows like how much their body really needs, who's maybe really close to their end goal as far as fat loss, and it has a lot of knowledge of, okay, this is a nutrient composition of 4 ounces of chicken breast, and this is what 4 ounces of chicken breast roughly looks like visually, and this is how many calories roughly a cup of potato salad or potatoes have. Like, when you get to a certain level of advancement within your journey, you can take, a few days, multiple days in a row of not tracking your food at all and eat intuitively and put together similar meals that you would eat, when you are tracking, and do really well with maintaining your weight, even though you're not actually putting it physically in an app. But if you are new to tracking your food and new to learning about the composition of food, I think still roughly logging those things, at least for most of those days, right? I kind of told her like, hey, totally fine that that's what you did. That's a decision you made. Like, we can't go back and change that. But let's kind of learn from that. Like, how did we feel Monday after those 4 days of not tracking? Did we feel really confident in our decisions that we made? Or did we feel like, man, I feel like I probably overdid it. Like, I fell off and now I got to get back on, right? Because if you are always telling yourself every Monday, okay, now it's time to get back on track, that means that we probably turn that switch off over the weekend, which is what we don't want. We don't want that switch to ever be turned off. If we just simply choose to still roughly track our food, maybe 3 out of those 4 days. So maybe you took, the 4th of July off from tracking your food, but Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, you still roughly tracked. Even if you didn't even track your whole day, maybe you roughly tracked 75% of your day, just to get a rough idea of where your calories are at. That is like where we want to be in terms of not flipping that switch completely off. I have this light actually sitting behind me. This one right here over my right shoulder. And I think it might even, my right shoulder. I was going to say it looks like my left from the camera, but maybe not. My right shoulder. This light right here, where it has like kind of the 3 lights behind me. This light, I can turn it off, but I also can turn the knob to make it brighter or dimmer. And that's how we want to view these habits in our nutrition, in our workouts, and our steps through our everyday life. We don't want to have weeks or days where, okay, like there's no holidays going on, I'm not traveling, I'm not out of town, I'm going to be perfect, or I'm going to try to be perfect, and then when we go out of town for a weekend, that switch is off. Like, we want to just dim it a little bit where, okay, maybe I'm not bringing up my food scale at my family member's house or friend's house and weighing out my burger patties, but maybe I'm visually looking at it and be like, okay, that's probably 4 or 5 ounces of ground beef. There's probably a regular size bun. This is probably around 350 calories total. Okay, let me put a cup of potato salad on there, because that might be an extra few hundred calories. And I know I typically put together 600 to 700 calorie meals when I'm at home, when I'm logging. And these are all things that you can just roughly kind of estimate when you're in these moments, and it goes a long way. And I can't tell you too how many times I've had a new client sign on with coaching, and very first week, there's no pressure to hit any specific nutrition goals. We're just like, hey, let's just track our usual food intake and not change anything. And when they do that, their eating habits change so much actually that first week. They start eating healthier. They start eating more protein than they typically probably would, just because they're simply putting their food in MyFitnessPal and they're being conscious of what they're eating. Even if they're not even trying to change anything, they're just trying to be conscious. So even if you just are aware of, oh, like this is roughly this many calories, even if it's an estimate, this is what this kind of looks like, it makes you so much more mindful and conscious. It makes you like really think about the decisions to, okay, well, man, this cupcake is 200 calories. Do I really need to eat 3? Like maybe I can just have 1 and feel satisfied. And then you eat 1 and you're like, oh, like I feel good. I don't actually need those extra 2. But if it wasn't for actually pulling out MyFitnessPal and roughly estimating that, you wouldn't have gotten that feedback of, oh, that's 200 calories. Like maybe I shouldn't have 3. And you maybe would have just in the moment, like out of reaction, just ate 3 anyway, you know? So the whole gist of this conversation I was having with this client was, let's really avoid turning that switch off. And let's make it a point to, no matter what happens, maybe, you know, we're not hitting our perfect 10,000 step goal, but maybe we're being mindful and trying to get a little bit of a walk in before the festivities start. And maybe we end up with 7,000 for the day. Maybe we don't actually, you know, get a full workout in, but maybe we kind of run around with the kids in the backyard and we, you know, feel our heart rate come up and we're like, okay, like I'm being active, you know, I'm not just sitting around in a chair all day. Or maybe, you know, you, like I said, you know, you're not tracking your food, you know, as precisely on the 4th of July, but maybe you're roughly even just estimating things in your head of, let me like play a game and see how many calories do I think this plate is. And even just doing that, you know, can make you conscious enough to make a more aware or a more conscious decision. So even just doing those things and having that light really dim makes such a big impact on the amount of calories you end up eating, how active you end up being, and also it makes a big impact on mentally how you feel going into that Monday. Because if you turn that switch off, and if you're somebody who really cares about your results and really cares about losing weight and getting in better shape, you are going to feel guilty. You're going to feel frustrated with yourself. You're going to feel like, man, I let myself down. Like this isn't what I wanted to do over the weekend. I wanted to be more conscious. But if you at least have that light a little bit dimmed, and then you come back on Monday, you can reflect and be like, you know I wasn't perfect, but like I feel good about a lot of decisions that I made. So just wanted to come on here and give, you know, that little piece of advice and reminder of just not letting that switch completely turn off. And that goes a long way. And that can be the big difference between you constantly losing and gaining the same 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds over and over and over versus when you have these holiday weekends or these, you know, weeks away, you're still maintaining your weight and maintaining your weight loss. So then when you get back in your routine and you're precisely measuring your food again, you're chipping away, losing body fat, but then you have these weekends where you're, you know, out of town and away and you're at least just maintaining that weight loss that you had. So hopefully this was helpful. Well, man, I don't even know what I was trying to say there, honestly, but I'm not going to cut this out. I'm going to leave it in there, but hopefully this helps. Let me know in the comments if you did. Use the link below to join the iThrive Collective so we can get started on our new challenge starting this upcoming Monday, by the way. So this upcoming Monday is should be July 14th. So that is when we will be starting this protein challenge. So if you want in on the protein challenge, a chance to win, you know, $100+ in prizes total. And if you want access to all those other resources and the 7-day free trial and the big discount we're doing, and to be a part of an amazing community, click the link in the comments below, and I will see you guys in there.